Good morning, my dear artist family. Today I'm going to start with pastel on my underpainting for my energetic dancer. There will be a special offer at the end of this video, so be sure to stay tuned and look for the links down below. You can also subscribe down below. You can hit the bell down below, which will give you notifications when I put up new videos. I wanted to share first of all with you my palette and how I formed it, and let you know that I'll probably add to it as time goes on. I generally do, but I try to stay within the color families that I picked at first. That allows me to make sure that I have pretty good color harmony throughout my piece. So I'll insert a picture here of my palette for you, but I'll just kind of try to show it to you. I always end up dropping some, and perhaps you can kind of see that. Now, how did I decide on those colors? Well, I knew that I wanted red and gold for the main impact of this piece. So I went to my color wheels, of which I have 4. And they're all just a little bit different. I tend to turn to this one most. This is based on the Munsell color theory, and it's like a little turn wheel. You can turn it. And then what you want to do is you want to put your dominant hue at the top. If you have an idea of the dominant hue that you want, you put that at the top. Well, gold is kind of a mixture of some colors, so I'm going to be okay with using some analogous colors across the top, not just one. So I chose orange with red and yellow as adjacent hues. I'll be using all 3 of these, and I'll be using tints and shades of all of them. Then at the bottom, you'll see we have the complement tells me that it's bright blue, okay? It's like cobalt blue, not phthalo blue. All right, it's not a warm blue. It's definitely a cooler blue, although it's not all the way into blue-purple, right? So, excuse me. So I have that blue here. And then I have a couple of colors I can use for spice colors. I want to be very, very careful how much I use them because they are discordant colors. They can spice things up, but if you use too much of them, then you're going to end up with a piece that doesn't impact you as much. It's going to scatter your, I guess it would be maybe distracting. So you want to put these in, but you want to put them in tiny little amounts. So that's how I chose my palette. And let's go ahead and begin bringing this energetic dancer to life. Okay, well, it's always a good idea to begin with your darks. So I have chosen some of the darks from that palette that I showed you, the blues, and where her body is completely blocking the sun or the light source. The shadows are darker, and you can see that the shadow under her lifted leg is going to be a lot lighter, a lot more blurred. So I'm just trying to think right now where the light is coming from and what's further away. Then I'm going to add some dimension to that dark by adding another color on top. Rule of thumb, never use black as a shadow color. It's too dead. Your shadows, the way your eyes see them, are actually full of all kinds of things because our eyes can see into those shadows. So in order to have that same depth in your paintings, you'll want to make sure that there's at least some different colors in your shadows, if not some very subtly discernible shapes. So that's what I'm working on here. I wasn't paying attention, and I covered up part of her hand with the shirt color. So, oh, I'm looking for my eraser. There it is. So that I can take that mistake off. There, and moving on. So again, just taking care of shadows. All the left-hand side of her, looking at her, is going to be in shadow. So I'm pulling in my darker colors, my complementary colors, by the way, to work in there. You don't always want to go for just the darker color of your dominant hue. You can spice it up and make it much more pleasing by using your complementary color. I have heard it said that your dominant hue should be about 80% of the painting, and then your complementary hue should be about 10% of the painting, and then if you use the spice colors, you will use them about 5% each. I don't think that's a hard and fast rule, but it does seem to pan out that way for good paintings, so keep that in mind as you set up your own palette. All right, I'm trying really hard to make chunky marks. I'm trying to make chunky marks so that I don't get bogged down in details and tiny stuff. I am looking for a very impressionistic feel for this dancer. I want you to feel the movement. I want you to feel the excitement. And I don't want you to be zooming in or zeroing in on details. So I'm avoiding those details like the plague. I'm not filling in everything. I'm letting some things be loose and free with spaces in between. I can always come back in with a different value of that color or temperature of that color and fill in the spaces in between to get that impressionistic feel that I am looking for. So remember that you can do that. You don't have to fill in everything. Those of you who have, especially with pastels, you kind of have the habit of blending, particularly with your fingers, to fill in everything. I want to recommend that you play around and try not doing that. You're going to have a much more pleasing, impressionistic feel, a loose feel, without all that blending. And yes, it will be scary at first, and that's okay. All right, I'm getting my main dominant hue, my red, in there, along with the golds, and some shadows where I'm pretty sure there will be some. Trying to look at the different directions in which I'm putting the strokes. This is fabric. It doesn't fall straight, especially since she's bouncing up and down, she's moving back and forth. I want to make sure that that fabric gives you the sense that that's happening. All right, just giving some shadow behind her, remembering that the light is coming strongly from the right as she dances. I'm cutting in there to help form her foot, both the one on the ground and the one in the air, with a little bit of dark shadow. All right, I'm putting in some greens here. Green is one of the discord colors, one of the spice colors. So I am putting it in. Also remember that green is one of the sparkle colors of gold. So I am using some green for spice. All right, some more blue on the shadowed side of my dancer. Okay, I like to work all over the canvas, so I'm going to work on bringing the background up to about the same level as I have the dancer. And again, I really want to go for that gold feeling, so I've chosen a gold color for that. As I come forward, I'm going to be adding in some darker gold. Carving out some light that is between her arms. So notice that I did not worry about that as I was putting her clothes in. I didn't worry about those little light peeking through between her arm and her body. I carved that in afterwards. It's taken me a while to learn that little trick, but I guarantee you that it will help you. Again, I really want a sparkly, impressionistic look to this, so I am making my strokes every which way, not all one direction, not covering all the canvas at all. And now I'm actually taking that same color and I'm pulling it into the red and pulling the red out into the gold. I think you'll see by the end of this why I'm doing that and how that's going to make both a feeling of movement and also just that impressionistic feel as we go. I picked a darker orange, yellow orange to go down below. As it's coming forward toward you, it's going to get darker and warmer. So again, not using, even though I'm using quite predominantly horizontal strokes, I'm not keeping it all horizontal. Still trying to emphasize and keep in my mind that I am after that impressionistic look. All right, one of the things that I've noticed in watching these dancers is that quite often they have the bottoms of their feet painted red. So since red is my dominant hue, I definitely want to keep that feel in there, so I'm making the bottoms of her feet red as well. Okay, I'm pulling some red out into the shadows. Again, looking for that impressionistic feel. I've got warm colors next to cool colors. That's always helpful in making things more dynamic. Now I'm going to be using some of the blue. That's the complementary color to put in some shadows and delineate her arms a little bit. By the time I end this, I'm still not going to be entirely thrilled with her arms, so that'll be something to come back and do in part 3, but I will be happy with it for now. Okay, adding in some, I think that's some green or blue into the gold belts around her waist. Adding some sparkle to the earring and to the headpiece. Again, there's no detail there. I'm basically just making dots. So look at what you can do to suggest what you want without worrying about detail. Just getting that sparkle look. I've noticed that in the clothing of these dancers, they'll often have a solid color and then an overlay of gold lame and gold detailing. So that's the look I'm going for. Harmonizing those jewels just a little bit. They are a little too, they're a little too cool of a yellow. So adding in the bracelets that she would be wearing, gold with a little bit of orange and green just to give that sparkly feel. Again, giving some more form with another color of the blue, making those shadows more lively. Adding some shadows and enrichment to the arms with a deep shadowy red, because her clothes are going to be reflecting onto her skin. So I want to make sure that I remember that, and then that I bring that red color into her skin, just as if it would be in real life. If you were wearing that bright red and you were out in the sun or there were bright lights, it would be reflecting off your skin. Adding some of the gold detailing into the shadows using a darker gold color so that it continues to look as if it's in the shadow. Okay, I feel like this is really coming along good. And one of the things that I know to do, if it's coming along really good, and I come to a point where I start to do little things, that's a red flag for me. I know I need to stop because I'll overwork it. So I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna walk away for a while and then I'll be back. So this will be part 2. And don't forget to watch to the end for the special offer. All right, I will see you for part 3 later. All right. When I began my art journey 5 years ago, I had no idea all the joy that I would find. If I had known, I wouldn't have waited so long. Over those years, I have talked to many people who want to begin some kind of artistic pursuit, but they are blocked. They don't know how, they think it's too expensive, or they've been told they don't have any talent. I wish I could share with everyone that there are solutions and help for all of those issues. I've created a quiz to help you determine what is blocking you from the joy of art. It will pinpoint the area of your greatest block and give you solutions that will work. I know they will because I've tried them myself. All you have to do is access the quiz by signing up for my email newsletter. The link is below in the comments. Your results immediately so you can get started enjoying your art journey.